Today is Friday, April 8th, right? It's day 24, Friday, April 8th, 2022. All right, so first, I'd like to talk to you about the surplus in the budget and how for around $3.5 billion, they can almost wipe out homelessness in California completely. Okay, so for $3 billion, they could build 100,000 homes at an average of 30,000 each. And some of these, or you could build some of these homes at $45,000 and house more than one person. So for that $3 billion, 3.5 to cover any hidden costs of purchasing land, whatever else needs to be done. Okay, you could house maybe 120,000 people or more who are homeless. There can't be much more than that that are homeless in California. Remember, the surplus came about as a result of extra income that was unexpected, and it starts rolling in. Okay, so also it would help combat inflation because the money's just sitting there not doing anything. So if the money gets spent, your money is worth more. Okay. Also, you can look at my war on poverty plan. Okay. At 25 cents a month on average, I believe it is, for less than millionaires. Okay, and $10 a month on average for people with $1 million plus. We could build 100,000 homes in this country every year. Okay, that's 1/20th of the original plan, which is $5 a month on average for less than millionaires, and $200 a month on average for people with $1 million and up. So why is this not happening? Why are they just sitting on the surplus? This guy has his rights on. Why are they just sitting on the surplus money? Why aren't they giving it to where it is needed? Right? Food programs, housing. Well, it has to do with dating and breeding. People have been breeding with a trickle-down rich person scale. They've been listening to their assets. They're controlled opposition people who run dating sites, social media, who control culture to a large degree. It's like when they sponsor sports players to try to sell shoes. They sell you on the idea to be parts of their cultures, and people have been listening to these people because they're not very smart. Let me show you how people who have been given the option, to have sovereignty over their body, have abused it. Part of the problem is the sovereignty of attractive females. Bear with me and you'll see that I must be right. Okay? If you have sovereignty, that doesn't mean you should only date scum. Again, I tell you, if you have sovereignty over your body, that doesn't mean you conform and give in to peer pressure and threats from betas and nerds and people in social clubs and only date scum. That is fucking outrageous. Okay? So let me prove my point. I'm going to make 4 points. It's going to overkill my point, and I have 10 written down, but I do not want to explore more than that. I'm going to go off the top of the head to some degree, and I'm driving, so I'm going to limit it to 4. Number 1, is it okay for an attractive female to say she has sovereignty and to throw a water balloon full of urine at your car and then mock what happened with her friends? Again, I ask you, is it okay for an attractive female to say she has sovereignty with a smirk on her face, and to throw a water balloon full of urine at your car and hit it, for example, and mock what happened with her friends? Well, what is the effect? It almost certainly is not going to scratch your car. The effect is psychological, first and foremost. So she used her sovereignty over her body to cause psychological harm to you. Now imagine she went around and caused psychological harm to everybody by dating scum, even if they don't see it that way. Even if they say, hey, she's out of their league, they're not rich, and they think it's fair. On some level, they know it's not fair for them to date rich scum and the bootlickers who are popular in a corrupt and decadent and depraved society. That's an example that helps you understand how they've been abusing the sovereignty over their body instead of falling in line with a moral order. Morality applied is greater than the freedom to be stupid and wicked and wage psychological warfare wittingly and otherwise, so you can brag about how you're an American woman like Lenny Kravitz's song. okay, or some corporate empowered woman. And obviously guys have trapped them. Males are first and foremost responsible for why this is, because they were the man of the house historically. You know, look at, we never even had a female president. Males have exerted far more than the needed power to make sure that this didn't occur. And their stupid social clubs, they caused this to happen, and now females date with a stupid fucking scale because they weren't in it. They're unable to transcend. And it's been many years, and there's been a lot of suffering that has occurred because of how they date. They choose the guy they're going to marry. They have sex with him to the point where they have a baby. They decide to have that baby. Then they raise the baby. And then what happens, you know, with one of the manners at work typically, what happens then? What happens then is we get this piece of shit society where no one will stand with me because of those foolish guys that insisted on raising women to be a certain way, and how those females were unable to transcend that scenario. And now they're shunning me for pedophiles and their allies in a country where 1 in 4 little girls is sexually abused and 1 in 9 little boys, and that's not the only problem here. And a country that it disproportionately contributes to 3 million children starving to death every year in the world with its foreign policies, proxy government, CIA activities, transnational corporations, what have you. And their role in the UN and World Bank and World Health Organization and International Monetary Fund. All right, so point number 2, American history and Nazi Germany have illustrated to us all that the law of the land does not transcend morally precise law. Again, I tell you, this guy's shining his brights on me. American history and Nazi Germany have illustrated to us all in a way that a little kid could understand, okay, that the law of the land does not transcend morally precise law. With that being said, if it is legal for her to throw that water balloon full of urine at your car and then mock it with her friends, does that make it right? No. Feminists often resort to the argument that it says who? But it's legal for us too, right? They quite often take that route instead of the moral route. In fact, some have written on their bodies, fuck your morals, and walked around topless where kids can see and all that. A lot of them have disdain for morality, and they're occultists and things of this nature. Okay. So let's stop here. Point number 3. Using a universal scale and not a white supremacist scale. Using a universal scale and not a privileged white supremacist, not a scientific racist, not a corporate group scale, not a white man, you better do it our way and pretend that we're ideal scale, but using a universal scale, a universally true scale, and not a white supremacist scale. Is it okay to do good people wrong? Okay, for bad people, and how it makes you feel. Is it okay to do good people wrong? Is it okay to break Superman's heart, so to speak, and date Lex Luthor, even though that's all white supremacist imagery and so on and so forth? But the idea is that it's superimposed on. Is it okay to do the most moral person wrong for bad people and how it makes you feel? How does that apply to dating? Every other guy on the planet right now, except for my dad, who's blameless for having me as his son, is doing the wrong thing. Is it okay to shun me, the only guy doing the morally precise thing, for people who are doing the wrong thing wittingly or otherwise? Either they're too stupid to do the right thing, or they're purposely doing the wrong thing. Is it okay to shun me because you're like, I think they're cute, and you, a black guy? Okay, is that okay? No. And that, in a nutshell, shows you definitively why you should give up your sovereignty and accept my moral judgment. You have no viable counterargument. You might as well be abusing a kid. You may as well be eating a kid while he's still alive, cutting into his body, and you won't. I say, look, that's wrong, and you have no viable counterargument. You say, I have sovereignty. Use that as a point of reference. Use the throwing the urine at someone's car. Hey, she's not hurting anyone. It's not going to even scratch his car. What's the problem? Because it's still causing them psychological harm. How much more when it's dating? Her and hurt are similar words for a reason. It's a long story why that is, and that is actually a valid connection. Some of you don't know that much about etymology and linguistics, and those who do like to play stupid, Okay? And some of them perhaps don't even know, but it is a valid connection. Charm and harm are connected. Heart and hurt are connected. You think that's a coincidence? Prepare, pre-rape, right? Rape by deception occurs every moment of every day in the millions and millions and millions, the countless millions of people. All relationships, basically. If women knew better, they wouldn't be having sex at all, except for being willing to have sex with me. Why? Because everyone else is complicit with crimes against humanity, because they are in rebellion against the moral order. Whoever does not gather with me scatters. Whoever doesn't gather to the point of true morality scatters people toward immorality. Think about it. Work the angles. You'll see that that's the case. To cheat me out of my right to lead is evil. And that's where all immorality starts. I am the gateway for morality. And for those of you who are religious, the Spirit of God. All right. I urge you, if you doubt me at all, to comment. Okay, and I'll clarify why I'm right about that. It's a little bit tricky, but not very tricky. But I want to do my last point before I get to my destination. Point number 4. Do people who put feelings over moral precision tend to date people who tend to reproduce people who put feelings over moral precision? No bad tree can bear good fruit, so on and so forth. So if you haven't come into the moral order, when I'm the last valid representative of it ever possible, you're putting feelings over moral precision. You have decided to cheat the most righteous person that ever lived out of his right to lead, wittingly or otherwise. You're too ignorant. You're not destined. Can a monkey or a snake or a rat argue that because it's an animal, it didn't know better and it's not fair? If you don't know better because you're not evolved enough to know who the fuck I am, you're fucked, okay? Period. Now, you can blame your forefathers. They're at odds with the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order, and you ended up far away, buddy. And then what happened? And then when it was time to rally to the King of Kings, you weren't there, okay? And you people have the nerve to have pride in your cultures. When you're proud to be what you are, does that not testify against you a million times over? You're proud to be a culture that's in rebellion against moral precision, and from a race that's in rebellion against moral precision, which is all races, but whatever particular race you are in whatever particular subgrouping. Any questions about that? Please bring it up. I'm not racist. Think it through. You'll see why I'm right and why it's not a racist statement. Do people who put feelings over moral precision tend to breed people who put feelings over moral precision? Is dating them not crossing the line? You're like, I want to reproduce another bitch-ass motherfucker who's the reason why there's not a war on poverty plan in America. There's a reason why there's a $27 billion plus surplus in California, and we could wipe out homelessness here for $3.5 billion. In fact, they built $15,000 homes in San Francisco, tiny homes. They're flammable. They don't have showers and sinks. So depending on what material you want to build and what amenities or whatever the word is you want to include, we could wipe out homelessness in California for less than $3 billion. And there's a $27 billion surplus. People won't get together and insist on that because they've been bred to be fucking scum. So I'm standing on my own 10 toes saying, come on, guys, do the right thing. And they're like, I don't want to do the right thing. I'm a bitch. I don't want to do the right thing. We want to do eugenics. We want to gentrify. We want to make it seem like we're ideal. Why, you can see the bitch in us. Come on, guys. Right? It's fucking retarded. And you can tell by the way my voice sounded right there that I'm being fumed, and it's changing my voice and speech patterns and causing that raspy-ish effect when I try to talk like that, which wouldn't otherwise have occurred. Not that anybody gives a shit in this flea-bitten fucking world where they breed fucking scum who put their feelings over moral precision. This is a society where they beat their kids. They tell them to be cops and military and gang members. They risk their lives every day by the millions with their stupid attitudes. They smoke cigarettes and all kinds of shit. They abuse their family. They beat their wives and rape their kids and all this. And they're going to say, but I have to feed my family. So you can abuse them? So they can be corporate trash? So they can be criminal filth? So they can be corrupt cops? Use your fucking heads.